Hey everyone, welcome to a victory edition of the last game of the regular season. The Chargers win 34-20 over the Las Vegas Raiders. Chargers, they improved to, guys, you ready? What was the record? 11-6. 11-6 for this Charger team. Who would have thought a team that picked 5th overall in the draft all of a sudden is getting not only the 5th seed in the playoffs, but at the same time with Jim Harbaugh that this team is 11-6. Absolutely amazing. What an incredible turnaround. We talked about coaches of the year just a few days ago saying, well, who would be your candidate? And I think a lot of people are saying Kevin O'Connell. A lot of people are saying Quinn. But I'm telling you, what Harbaugh has done with the Chargers, it's pretty amazing considering the world champion Chiefs are in the same division. And what they've done on this run is absolutely amazing. Again, a statement game. Josh, you said it at the beginning of the year that the Chargers, they need to sweep the teams inside the division when you can. You said the Raiders are one of those teams that took care of the Broncos. What a day for the Chargers. As you're talking, I will light up that victory cigar right now.
So this weekend went perfectly, Mario. We said we need the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Steelers, and then we need to take care of the Raiders, make sure that nobody gets injured. And then Trey Pipkins goes down, and I don't root for anybody to get injured, but if there's anybody on the team to go down and me not to feel too bad about it, I know it's terrible to say it would be him. I don't want anybody to get injured, but I'm just going to say that. And the Chargers look fantastic. Justin Herbert looks amazing. The defense looks good in the second half, and we're moving the ball. Everything goes well. And then something happens today, Mario, that I didn't think in my lifetime I would ever see. QJ, turns into Randy Moss, making a one-handed, left-handed catch, has over 180 yards, and you're thinking, oh my God, do we have something to go with Ladd next season? I don't know if I'm ready to say he's the number 1 or number 2 next season, but he looked great today, and the Chargers overall look very good.
For Quentin Johnston, it was a perfect game to have going into the playoffs. Not only did he, statistically, he have a great game and, almost triple the amount of career high catches he's had in one game. But guys, the route separation was his best. His catching ability was his best. His playmaking ability was his best. He caught a ball, got lit up like a Christmas tree, and held on to it. I thought, did we do the little Giants and put that sticky stuff all over his hands, and it was against his jersey, and the ball just went right to it? What is going on right now? He played incredible. It was by far his best game of his career, and I think this was the biggest confidence builder he could ever get. We mentioned it all year long that just every moment they could, Herbert backed him up, Harbaugh backed him up, Roman backed him up. Everyone kind of just stayed by him, stayed right there to kind of lift him back up. And today, Dave, it showed. I think today showed also just how good of a coach Harbaugh is and Harbaugh's culture that he's building. Because 34-20, and like you said, we just swept everyone in the division besides the Chiefs. We'll get there. But the big goal this year was sweep the Broncos, sweep the Raiders, and kiss our asses. We did it.
We'll talk about in a second where the game changed. Again, we want you to like and subscribe to the show. If you have a comment, we'll try and get to those as well. Appreciate all the super chats. Of course, those will get read. But again, this is a day to be excited for the Chargers. The playoffs begin next weekend. Let's stay with QJ right now. QJ, as you said, 13 receptions, just an amazing day, 186 yards. 14 times he was targeted. The long one, of course, was the 39-yarder, the one-handed catch. Someone wrote to us as part of our Charger group chat who said, what a catch. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of thought he was surprised as we were. It was one of those where he hit the sticky gloves and it stuck. It was great. But as far as Jim Harbaugh and what the Chargers are trying to do today, do you think, guys, that they were showcasing QJ to kind of take future attention away from guys like Ladd McConkey for the postseason, to say, look, you know what, when we go into the postseason, I know you guys are focusing on number 15 because he's been our go-to guy the entire year. And this is one of those games where Chargers are in the playoffs no matter what. Of course, they want to face the Texans over the Ravens. But is this one of those where whoever faces the Chargers in the postseason, because of this game today, you have to spend a lot of time in practice preparing for Quentin Johnston?
I think so. I think if you're the Houston Texans looking at this game next week, you can't look at Quentin Johnston as somebody that's not going to make a difference. The big thing to me with Quentin Johnston was he would get targeted a lot recently, maybe 8 targets, 10 targets a game, and then he'd come down with half of them. 14 targets and 13 receptions. That's Keenan Allen numbers. Those are Ladd McConkey numbers. I'm so impressed with the way he played today. And you could say whatever you want about the Raiders being a bad team. They're still a team in the NFL. You still have to make the plays, and he did that. I'm so excited for Quentin Johnston as a player, as a human being. I know how he's been in his head so much throughout his career. For him to have this type of confidence, Mario, going into the playoffs, it's huge, not only for him, but the entire team. And I just love that the way the Chargers look all around, the special teams, the offense, the defense, everybody's pulling in the right direction. And this is exactly why you bring in Jim Harbaugh, right? To turn a team from the 5th pick to the 5th seed. I didn't expect the Chargers to be this good, this fast, but here we are.
And like you said, I think someone tweeted out today, they go, the Broncos had Hackett, they fire him, they got Peyton, and look where they're at now. The Chargers had Staley, they fire him, when got Harbaugh, look at him now. Take that as a lesson to all the other teams that are, open for head coaching positions, going, hey, go get the established guy. Go get the guy that's done it before. Stop trying to find, the diamond in the rust, the gold that's all the way under the oil that's underneath the earth. Just get the guy that's established, that's been there before, that you know what you're going to get. Quit this, trying to stick around till 4 a.m. trying to find the hottest girl in town. Okay. Sometimes you just guys, take the girl that's the prettiest girl right there in the moment. That's, really fun to talk to. Okay. That could have gotten dicey right there, but we'll move on. Hell of a game. Best game of the year. Also, Dave, just really felt good to do that to the Raiders after they just whooped our asses last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one of the things that Josh was talking about. Don't forget what happened last time they were in Las Vegas. Okay, so the Chargers, again, the way this game started out, it wasn't the most exciting. First of all, Slater gets hurt before the game, so you asked Joe Alt to switch over to left tackle, which is strange. I mean, yes, he's been a left tackle his entire life, but now he's learning right tackle. Again, it's like looking in a mirror and try and do what you want to do, and guess what? Now all of a sudden, instead of being right-handed, just like you're left-handed, your brain works a little bit different. You have to think about things a little bit more. So play is called, boom, you have your assignment, and you got to reverse everything in your head. It's one of those things when people speak a foreign language as fluent as they do, let's say English. And I always ask them, I go, when you start to speak a different language, do you hear it first in English and then speak it back in, let's say, Spanish? Or is it just natural to you? And for Joe Alt, even though he's done it his entire career, he hasn't done it at the NFL level as a left tackle. Played very good, right? I mean, that's not easy to do, especially last second. It wasn't one of those where he knew on Wednesday, hey, I'm playing left tackle today. This is one of those, hey, right before the game, guess what? We're moving over to left tackle. That was an impressive move. Again, you get a chance to see Bowers and Alt on the field at the same time. We talk about both of them all the time on this show and how great we think Bowers is. At the same time, we aren't saying the Chargers made a mistake with Alt, but boy, the Raiders got a really good one too. Where it changed was the end of the second quarter. The end of the second quarter, when things were kind of dragging and the score was 10-3, all of a sudden, with like a minute, the Raiders just turn it on, right? I mean, the Chargers just turn it on. And it was incredible when you get the interception by Henley, and then all of a sudden you score the touchdown, and then you get the 2-point conversion. And all of a sudden the Chargers have momentum going into the half, where the Raiders have to be thinking, what the hell just happened here? We're just up 10-3. All of a sudden we're down, am I right, 17-10. And you're shaking your head going, what just happened to our team right now? So for the Chargers, couldn't be more pleased. I believe 10-6, sorry, then made it 17-10. It's overall, what a day. I mean, what a day. You for right now, there's singing for He's a Jolly Good Fella, right? That's what's going on in that locker room, and they're getting ready for the next game. I mean, they got to be on cloud 9. Too bad the flight from Vegas back to LA is only an hour.
They got to be on cloud 9, and there's just so many good things that happened in today's game. QJ obviously was great. Ladd McConkey, great as always. And then you have Justin Herbert use his legs in the best way, Mario. He goes on a 41-yard run, something that you never see him go for such a long run. It was great to see. And then you always say, if you're going to have a really good team, you need guys to make plays when it matters the most. It seemed like last season that never really happened. When you needed somebody to make a play, nobody really stepped up. Henley comes up with his first interception when you really needed the Chargers to get a stop. They get a turnover, and then the Chargers kind of just roll from there. Something interesting that happened in today's game was, I don't know if anybody noticed this, the scores by quarter mirrored each other in the first half and the second half. Let me tell you exactly what I mean. In the first quarter, the Chargers have 3, the Raiders have 3. In the second quarter, the Chargers score 14, the Raiders score 7. In the third quarter, the Chargers score 3, the Raiders score 3. In the fourth quarter, the Chargers score 14, the Raiders score 7. We ended up winning 34-20. I'm just so happy, Mario. I didn't think this was going to be the situation. When I look at the roster, I think Dave nailed it when he said you're going to look back at this team in a couple years and say, oh my God, we were going to Will Disley. That's the guy we were throwing to. We had J.K. Dobbins and who behind him? There's nobody else. And we still won. We had 11 wins. That just goes to show how good Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh are to me. And I also think Joe Ortiz should get a lot of credit. This draft class has been amazing, and they've been one of the best in the NFL, if not the best 2024 draft class in the entire NFL.
A lot of credit to him. And you guys mentioned the Henley play. I think that was the turning point in the game. That pick right before the half, because that gets the Charger touchdown, and that gets him up right before we go into the second half. And like before that, guys, I was getting pretty nervous about this game. Like I texted you guys going, this feels like a preseason game. Like the energy just felt dead by the Chargers, and it felt like they're kind of just sleepwalking through the game and trying to feel it out, going, how hard are we going to play in this game, right? And then it felt like every stint that the Raiders ran at Herbert was working, where our linemen just could not understand. It was like the first time they ever seen a stint before. Like, you could do that in the NFL? Like, God. It's like when, they just saw the I formation in 1942 from George House. Like, no way. Fullback in the backfield? Holy hell. This is a game changer, fellas. That's what it felt like. And then in that moment, Henley makes a play. He steps up big, and it just tables turned, and the Chargers never give it back. And I think that's a big takeaway for me, Dave, is, as soon as they kind of take momentum, they don't give it back. And if you do that in the playoffs, I can take you pretty far.
Obviously the NFL rule is if two players have the ball at the same time on a catch, it always goes back to the offense. If that rule was switched up, the Chargers have 2 more interceptions, right? Derwin James had it with Brock Bowers in the end zone.
Yep.
And Tarheeb still, even though he didn't get credit for that interception, that was an amazing play. I mean, that was an amazing play. If you didn't know the rule, you'd say, dude, it's Chargers ball. Look, it definitely looked like Tarheeb had basically, 70% of that catch. But I tell you what, overall, man, I like where this team is. And to let everybody know, if you're just tuning in right now and you didn't pay attention to what was going on in the other games, the playoff picture is obviously it's all set. Okay. It's all set as far as what's going to happen. In the AFC, Chiefs, they have the bye. They're the 1 seed. Bills will host the Denver Broncos next week. The Ravens will host the Pittsburgh Steelers next week. So 3 times they have to face each other. And the Texans are hosting the Chargers. Texans did win today against the Titans. Titans end up with the number 1 pick in the draft. Again, in the NFC, Lions or Vikes will have the number 1 pick, depending what happens in the Sunday night game. Eagles are hosting the Packers, which is crazy that the Packers completely butchered against the Chicago Bears. Eagles are hosting the Packers. The Rams will host the Commanders, and the Buccaneers will host either the Vikings or the Lions next week. So it's all set up. It's ready to go. I mean, I got to go back and look to see what our predictions were on who we thought were going to make the postseason, but there are a bunch of surprises. And then as we already see that coaches have already started getting fired. Gerard Mayo has already been fired from the Patriots. And you wonder, were you fired because of what happened today, blowing the first pick in the draft, or were you fired for being that bad in your first year? Because think about it, the Patriots haven't had to look for a new coach in over 20 years, and all of a sudden they're going through 2 coaches in less than a year. All right, it's just weird the way they've gone through things. So it is fun. I mean, the NFL never disappoints, and at the same time, when you look at the last week of the season, whether it's Mike Evans or if it's Jerry Jones and the Cowboys screwing over Cooper Rush for not paying him his incentive, there's so many different things that happened today that you go, man, this is why the NFL is king, and that's the reason why it's not going anywhere. Remember when all those people that weren't NFL fans telling you, this game is on its way out. I'll be shocked if the NFL exists in 5 years with all these concussions. Well, how's that going? Colin Kaepernick took a knee. The NFL's on its way out. There's no way people are going to support this league. Dude, the NFL is king. Why do you think the NBA freaked out when the NFL played on Christmas Day? Because they can. They own this thing.
When you look at the playoff schedule, do you look at other teams or you really just focus on the Chargers? For example, are you looking at the Chargers and what day they're going to play on? It hasn't been announced yet if the Chargers are going to play on Saturday or Sunday. Does that mean anything to you guys? Or do you look at the other teams? You just focused in on Chargers, Texans?
What my prediction? Chargers are playing the first game on Saturday.
I think so too. They're in the first matchup, dude.
No offense to the Chargers or the Texans, but they look at setting up ratings wise, and they're going to look at that as going, that's going to be our lowest rated playoff game, and they're going to go Texans Chargers game 1 on Saturday.
Yeah, I was seeing the same thing. I think it's gonna be Saturday.
And as far as
should-
the Chargers
we're a
road
Saturday team.
to this, yeah, as far as the Chargers road to the Super Bowl, I always laugh when coaches can do the one game at a time. Dude, as a fan right now, I'm 100% in the mindset one game at a time, like not looking ahead. I'm one game at a time on this because right now everything else is just gravy, right? To think that this team's a playoff team, anything that happens from here on out, it's just a bonus.
Were you peeping the Texans game, considering, we're probably going to play them if we handle the Raiders? Or were you just focused in on Chargers, Raiders?
I was.
You were? What do you think? What are your initial thoughts?
Not impressed by the Texans. I wanted the Texans all along. So did you two. So did everyone else in this chat. Everybody wanted the Texans, right? Nobody wanted the Ravens. I mean, you might see the Ravens down the line. You might see the Bills down the line. But for me, I 100% wanted the Texans, and I wanted the Chiefs in the second game. That's why I looked at it going into this whole thing. Those are the teams I wanted. I still feel the same way.
I agree with you. I was with a group of friends right now watching the Chargers game, and they were telling me that they think the Steelers would have been the easiest matchup. They weren't an option, but they said if you were to go to Pittsburgh, they think that would be an easier game than the Houston Texans. Would you agree with that, Mario?
Honestly, with the way that Russell Wilson looked last night against that Bengals defense, yes. And not even him too, though, but their number one option, George Pickens. What the hell was in that guy's mind last night? He couldn't catch anything. You could throw him a pitch on the sideline, he's going to drop the damn ball. Like, he sucked. He looked terrible. And they kept going to him and having these one-on-one conversations with Russell and with one of the coaches, and just no one was getting through to him. That team just looks like they're an absolute disaster. And they look like they're just doing the typical Mike Tomlin thing where they get in and then they don't do anything. And then that's this guy. So I would love, like, if that was in the cards and the Chargers play the Steelers, I think that'd be a really great matchup, especially second time around. But I think Texans is second up there. I saw Joe Mixon had his little monologue today saying how, like, oh, now it's do or die. Now real football is played. It's like, buddy, real football wasn't played on Christmas Day when he lost 31-2. Was that not real football? Spotlight, everything? Okay. Sounds good, man. Excited.
For me, looking at, the Steelers, which was a team, a month ago, I think a lot of people are afraid of. Right now, if you're a Steelers fan, you have to be wondering, do we even have our franchise quarterback? Like, is Russell Wilson what we thought he was? Because right now, if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm very disappointed in the way the season ended. Also, I'm not so confident that my team's going to do well in the postseason. I mean, let's say the Steelers go out and they lose to the Ravens next week. I mean, that is a catastrophic fail by what Pittsburgh has done over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Good, good. None of us are Russell Wilson fans. At the same time, none of us want to see the Steelers have success. But when you look at what Pittsburgh has done, when everyone is sitting there saying, it had to be all Sean Payton's fault. Russell Wilson is as good as he was in Seattle. But Russell Wilson hasn't proven anything. I mean, if anything, he's basically justified all the criticism that he's received.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Justin Fields might have been the better option down the stretch, the way that Russell Wilson's been playing. I also think it's interesting when you watch these games because some teams really need to win and then some teams don't, and some teams want momentum going to the playoffs. For example, the Chiefs, today's game didn't mean anything, right? They had the 1 seed no matter what. You would like to not get smoked by the Broncos. That's just me. Like, just to save a little bit of face. I know it wasn't your starters, but going into the playoffs, you don't want to be like our last game, we got killed by the Denver Broncos. Is that something you think about too? Like, as a Charger fan, I was really happy that we handled the Raiders in the way we did, that it didn't come down to the very end or we would have lost. To me, it means everything. Like, momentum is such a big deal in every sport that if I was a Chiefs fan, I'd be a little bit upset. Saying, really? You guys are going to lose by that much to Bo Nix and the Broncos? Is that something you think about, Mario?
Yes, just because I would look over at the Los Angeles Rams, who literally treated this like a preseason game, like maybe a little bit less, and we all know how like they treat those. They only lost by 5 today. So it's like, oh, well, they put up a fight, and you go, oh, the Seahawks weren't playing for anything. You're playing a divisional rival game. Like, you're playing for something, and all those guys have incentives in those deals. Geno Smith had a huge incentive he was playing for today. Mike McDonald's a first-year head coach. He's going to want to prove something. Like, he's not just going to go lay an egg and go, I feel comfortable with the organization. No, he wants to go out and prove something. So I was a little shocked by Kansas City just going, okay, you're going to really, like, let it get that ugly? Okay. Like, that's just a little shocking and not worrisome, but just, like, shocked, Dave. Like, really? You're going to let it get that bad? All right. Sounds good, man. I get rest up. By the way, they still have like what? They don't play for another week either, too.
Here's the interesting thing, man. When you look at where the NFL is right now, as we said, the excitement factor and how good things are going. I mean, look at the way that it's set up with the Sunday night schedule tonight. We have the Lions and you have the Vikes fighting it out. The two teams with the best records in the NFL playing the last game of the regular season to see the way that this thing's going to shape up. I'm an LA sports fan, so to see that both the Rams and the Chargers are in the postseason, I like it. I also root against all the East Coast teams. I love the fact that Patriots aren't in. I also really like the fact that New York has neither team in, that both teams are in complete disarray for various reasons. Whether you have a GM of the Giants whose son right there on Hard Knocks is smarter than his dad is awesome. When he's sitting there saying, Dad, I think you should trade up for Jaden Daniels. Okay, stupid. There you go. When you guys are both sitting at home together, there you go, talking about, man, remember when you told me to get Jaden Daniels? Dude, what the hell? And then at the same time, you have the story that comes out with the Jets where you have family members looking at Madden ratings on how you're going to justify which players you're going to chase. Look at Devontae Adams. I mean, what a disaster. Devontae Adams is a Jet who had to be moved off the Raiders. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the first guy out the door. The Jets have no interest in bringing him back. Have fun, have fun. Keep bragging about that Taco Bell you have inside your house. Okay. The Jets are a goddamn disaster. At the same time, LA has two teams in the postseason. Pretty cool, man. I absolutely love it. Someone texted me today who's a Charger fan, said that they were at SeaWorld during the Charger Raiders game. So they knew the Chargers were going to win. And they said, took my daughter to SeaWorld. And someone looked at their phone and then they just screamed out, F the Chargers as loud as they could, like for no reason. And it's people who are kind of hurt still that the team left San Diego. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who have told me, look, man, when the Chargers left San Diego for Los Angeles, I was hurt and I said I couldn't pay attention. But guess what? They're sucking right back in. Now that the Chargers are having success, Jim Harbaugh has made this organization relevant again on a national level. People say they cannot stop rooting for the logo. And like the jersey Josh is wearing right now, I know somebody wrote in the chat, I think Angie wrote in the chat, she wants to see it a little bit later on as far as which one you're wearing, Josh. But they see that jersey and they're seeing, LT wore that jersey. And that's part of the history of the Chargers. And so there's so many Southern California fans that are jumping on it. Josh and I were somewhere today where we're with the Rams season ticket holder who said they weren't going to the game today because they knew it was going to be like a preseason game. But they love the fact the Rams are back. This is a person almost 80 years old. And two is to have the Chargers there even makes it more exciting for football fans because the young people are gravitating towards Charger football and the old established people are the ones who remember the glory days of the Rams, all the way back to 1946 when they started.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are definitely the team of one of the teams of the future. They have a great quarterback with a great coach. Just to real quick go back to the Chiefs situation. Do you guys believe in karma when it comes to that? Because they obviously didn't want the Bengals to be in the playoffs, right? That was the whole point of that today. Is that not how you guys saw it?
Yeah, but I'm also like, thank you a little bit to him too. Like, thanks for keeping Burrow out.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I don't want the Bengals in either, but
nobody
not
did,
even a
right?
fight. But not even a
Nobody
fight.
wanted them. No.
Yeah, true.
Okay, look,
not even a little bit.
Okay, this is a great question for me. The way I look at it is have some pride.
Yeah.
Dude, 38-0. Have some pride. I mean, what's the point? That's just straight out embarrassing. Straight out. And look, the Chiefs it's not gonna affect them in the playoffs, but that's a terrible effort for professional sports and so-called professional athletes. There's not one guy that played today on the Chiefs where I'd say, man, I want to see that guy in a Charger uniform. You're gonna come out with that kind of effort. That's a joke. It's embarrassing.
It's a joke. And then everything happened that would have worked out for the Bengals, right? Because the Jets beat the Dolphins, then they handled the Steelers, and then the Chiefs completely just don't even try. I just real bouncing around everywhere. Today was a great day of football. I don't know if you guys felt the same way. I thought today was going to be an awful day. Not on the Chargers, but like the NFL as a whole. I thought it was going to be like the worst games ever. We even made fun of it the other day, how every game sucked besides a couple. It was one of the best weekends. Like the games came down to the end. They were great. The Mike Evans situation. Were you watching that live?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved it. Like I loved every second of it. I was watching the last drive in regulation or the second last drive in regulation where he needed 35 yards. And I was with all my friends and we're counting down how many yards does he need? How many yards does he need? And then they get the stop on 4th down and he needs just 5 more yards. And they could either just kneel it because that's all they need to do, or they're going to give him the 5 yards. And they did it. And I thought it was great. Like, it was one of my favorite moments of the NFL season. And then Mike Evans lost his mind when he got it. Did you like that, Mario? Were you as hyped as I was?
I loved it. And real quick, too, the Bucks, like, why did you guys make it a heart attack today? They I thought they were going to lose that game at one point.
I did
like,
too.
I was watching that. I was going, I'm pulling for you guys so hard. I actually had a friend from back home that was at the game because his family lives in Tampa now. And he goes, dude, there's boos at the end of the third quarter. Like, everyone was booing the team. Like, what is going on? Are we really going to let Spencer Rattler and Rizzy Boy on the sideline like ruin our chances to go to the playoffs? Like, this is insane. And they come back and they win the game. They have Mike Evans a special moment. That's incredible. And I credit to Todd Bowles, by the way. I don't think that guy gets enough. He was kind of given, I think, a hard era to transition to, where like the Tom Brady era is done. Bruce Arians is gone. You're given a quarterback that's been on 3 different teams that everyone thinks career is over, and you're dealing with resemblance of a Super Bowl team. But people felt like you should probably break the band apart and go into a rebuild. And he's kept that team afloat, Dave, and kept that team fighting. And they have great energy around that locker room, man, and they just keep rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who would have thought that the last week of the season would be as good as it was, right? We all thought this was going to be kind of a cruise week. We knew who was going to be in the postseason. What I liked about the Mike Evans situation is everybody was into it. The teammates were into it.
Yeah.
The crowd was into it. And guess what? The organization celebrated it. I mean, dude, fireworks went off before the clock even hit 0. I love fireworks, by the way, when the sun's out. That's my favorite. But fireworks went off with that as soon as he got it. I mean, it was cool as hell. I don't know why Mike Evans threw the ball away. Like, dude, hold on to that ball. That was a big deal.
Same. I was doing the same thing. I'm like, buddy, I mean, you just made someone's day, but I would have kept that.
But that's to me, we talk about class organizations. I mean, no one ever said, man, Tampa Bay, they're class. But that was a class move by Tampa. Just as we said, just the opposite of what you saw with the Dallas Cowboys today. Mm-hmm. Trey Lance gets the start because you don't want to pay Cooper Rush, with the extra money that he earned. I mean, dude, Dak Prescott goes down, the highest paid guy in the league, and Cooper Rush gets an opportunity, and you expected a lot from him, gave you everything he had, and you're going to screw him over? It was the biggest BS move of all time, man. It was a cheap shot by Jerry Jones. I thought it was weak, but I love the way Tampa celebrated Mike Evans.
Karma, like the Jerry Jones stuff like that. That's karma. The Mike Evans situation, Mario, is one of my favorites of the day. Second favorite thing of the day besides the Chargers. We got tons of comments, man. Do you mind if I get to some of these?
Real quick, boys. We can't bury the lead here. The upset in Lambeau.
That was a great game, dude.
In Lambeau. That was a hell of a game.
Hell of a game. I thought Jordan Love was going to come in, dude. I thought it was going to happen.
Ram fans super excited, by the way, by that move. Like the Ram fan I was hanging with today was like, oh man, it's a shame it's the Packers game 1, even though it's a home game, it's the Packers. Not saying the Commanders are a walkover, but people are a lot more afraid of the Packers than they are of the Commanders, and so that was a big. I mean, we just like the Chargers got the Texans. The Ram fans wanted anybody but Green Bay. That was big.
Oh, big. And shout out Thomas Brown for waiting week 18 to just empty the bag. Like, what an idiot! Like, dude, when you took over, you weren't going anywhere. Like, okay, that was gonna probably piss me off.
Yeah, the games were. I don't think there's one really bad game. Was there any really Chiefs Broncos? But there was only a couple of bad games. All the games were really really good. All right,
49ers, Arizona's. But by the way, Josh, we'll going to get into it on Tuesday. But Josh has been picking opposite of me the entire time. I think Josh might have passed me on the standings today on our picks. Yeah, we'll get into it on Tuesday and give you a final rundown after the Vikes Lions game. But yeah, kind of crazy. Josh had a crazy weekend. Remember, I told you that it was the highest point since 1982 that the favorite has been winning this year. Well, today it was not like that. If you heard that stat and then you said, I'm betting all favorites, you did not do very well today. But at the same time, I want to correct something else. I think I compared CJ Stroud and Aiden O'Connell stats. Wrong guy. Completely had the wrong guy. So apologies to CJ and anyone who went out and bragged to their friends at a bar comparing those stats. I messed that whole thing up. I hate when I do that, but at least I'll tell you I screwed it up.
Well, you better get Taco Bell in your house, buddy.
I can't even tell you who he's compared to, but I know it wasn't CJ Stroud. There you go.
All right, here we go. First comment comes from our boy Alan. It says, I owe QJ an apology. I do too. I mean, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I never thought that was going to happen. I thought Mario would be married by now before that happened. I just had no idea that QJ had that in him. Mario, the one-handed, left-handed catch. Like what?
Oh my god!
Like I had to blink a few times. Like, did that just happen? I'm sorry,
Dude,
QJ.
The catch over the middle where he just got absolutely popped. I was like, he held on a football. I was like, does he know where he is? And then 2, he held on the football. Wow.
Look, dude. All right, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, and I know I'm going to come off as a jerk when I say this. All right, people can go ahead and yell at me all you want. Dude, I'm really happy he had a great game. Like, honestly, I believe it's great first step moving forward if it's the real deal. But I don't think it's still the real deal. Like, the catches still, to me, still aren't clean with the hands. I just want to see him being clean with the hands on a consistent basis. I don't want to hold my breath like a 5-year-old in Little League. Like, is he going to actually get this ground ball or not? Like, I don't want, you know what I mean? I just want it to be routine. Like when Ladd caught that 2-point conversion in the back of the end zone, dude, I know he's going to catch it. It's not going to bobble it. I know his hands are the real deal. I just don't know with QJ. I'm still not 100% sold.
Speaking of receivers, guys, we forgot to mention it. Chark.
How about that? Shark attack.
How about that?
Dude, I didn't think that would happen either. No way, right? No way.
Yeah, he was just as surprised as us.
Hey, who do the Rams play? Who did you say the Rams have in the first round?
Commanders.
It's not the loser of Vikings Lions. I'm all confused.
They'll be the 4th seed.
Okay. All right, I can't count.
Wait.
I got loser of Vikings Lions play at Los Angeles.
Yeah, Dave, I think you got that wrong.
Yeah. Commanders play the Bucks.
Yeah.
Is that true?
It is true.
Maybe I wrote it out beforehand. Hold on.
Maybe.
I think I'm pretty sure Josh is right there.
Well, who has a better record, Commanders or Rams?
Well, it doesn't matter because Rams won the division.
Buccaneers won their division. Rams won their division.
Yeah, right. Rams do. I'm pretty sure.
Rams are the 4th seed. Loser of Vikings Lions has the 5th seed. Number 1 wild card. Yeah.
Oh wow! Okay. And the Rams beat the Vikes early in the season at SoFi.
Yeah. So I think the Rams definitely want to see.
Dude,
I thought the Rams rather play Minnesota. What?
Oh, can you imagine Jared Goff coming back to LA? So far he hasn't done it. They've played the Rams twice since the trade, but he's never played in Los Angeles.
That'd be pretty good.
Remember that the Rams Lions faced each other last year in the playoffs. Lions won. They played the first game of the season this year when the Rams had all those crazy injuries in week 1. Mm-hmm. And Jared Goff got the best of them twice now.
All right, next one comes from Alana Moore, $5, says, I have always been a QJ believer. I was just hoping he would prove me right. Laugh out loud. Let's hope for consistency. Yeah, I think all Charger fans feel the same way. We're really hyped about QJ's performance, but let's see it, not, 186 yards, but let's see some consistency with his hands and his output. I think if you can get, Mario, 60 plus yards out of QJ in Houston, you'd be happy with that.
More than happy. I'll write home with that. I'll write him a love letter with that. And shout out Elena, by the way. She has been the Quentin Johnston believer every single show. I've noticed that.
All right.
Is that a positive?
Yeah. I mean, just more faith than we did. Next one comes from Cam Teague, 85, 499, says, from 5-12 to the 5th pick in the draft, then on to the 5th seed in the playoffs. Hell of a turnaround in less than 365 days, heading to H-Town. Amazing. Yes. Absolutely amazing.
It is amazing. It's been an incredible run. By the way, I'm watching, as we're doing the show, I'm watching Lakers and Rockets, and the Rockets are wearing their H-Town jerseys. Ugh. Nice jerseys. It looks like it says H-Crown. Like, dude, what the hell, dude? What's wrong with these guys? Rockets complete disaster. Houston's a complete disaster. We always talked about the weight issues in Houston. What a mess, man. What a dump of a town. Get in, get the win, get the hell out. This whole thing's
how it starts.
Hey, Rockets are good.
Can't even read the goddamn uniform. It's only a few letters. Let's do a better job.
All right, next one comes from Roberto Castellon, 199, said, guys, I never have been this happy as a fan.
Wow.
Ever? Ever? I'm really happy, but I think there's been a few better moments, right? As a Charger fan, maybe you're happy about the future, right? I think we all feel we're really happy about the future, but 14-2 Chargers back in the day.
I'd say never more confident about confident. I think.
Yeah.
Right. I get you feeling
Roberto,
something
we'll take it
in the morning.
We'll take it. We'll take it. And Joe Ortiz, he should get some looks for Executive of the Year, right? Amazing. All right. Matt Waters, $10, says, Saturday the 11th, I turned 55, and all I want is a playoff win. Been a fan for 50 years and have never loved this team more. I'm with you, Dave, when you name all the old school players, but I'm so hyped now.
I am too, man. Nothing against those old school guys, but they never held a trophy. Seriously. I mean, there have been some big disappointing moments. I mean, we could sit there and do a top 10 list of kicking the nut moments. Yeah, that's no fun. Yeah. We don't want to do that. But I'm saying I'm with Matt on this, is that the future is really bright.
All right.
Future's bright. Happy birthday, Matt. Big 5'5".
Junior sale.
It's in your prime.
All right. Jose, $2, says Bosa and his penalties. Death taxes, Joey Bosa penalties, death taxes, Trey Pipkins holds, death taxes, me yelling at the TV when Jasir Taylor's on it. I mean, it's just certain things, Jose, happen every weekend. I mean, what are you going to do?
Death taxes and Fulton bites on a
holy hell. Beard. Christian Fulton's entering Jasir Taylor land, bro. Like, oh my God. Jasir Taylor, Christian Fulton drives me nuts out there.
Dude, you fake for a hitch and Buddy's biting.
Yeah, he's not 20. He's not even 20 yards from the ball. Like out of the TV. Like, holy. All right. Next one comes from Cam T, $4.99. Appreciate that. Next one comes from Charles Oglesby, $4.99. Says Chargers beat Texans. Chargers beat the Chiefs. AFC Championship equals the Harbaugh Bowl Part 2. Wow, that'd be amazing. What do you think, Mario?
That'd be absolutely dream. That'd be, Charles, we'll go to Mexico together after that. If that happens, we'll get margaritas.
All right. Jim has to beat his brother at some point, right? I mean, come on.
So I had a Raiders insider on today, and he was saying like he was really worried about that. He's like, "What's the worry like within the Ravens?" He goes, "They're worried about facing the Chargers and giving Jim another shot."
I would too,
dude. Yeah, I would too. I mean, honestly, if you're any team, do you want to face the Chargers?
No.
Dude, I'm trying to look at it today going, where do you start? I mean, honestly, where do you start? You know that Herbert's great, but where do you start? I mean, it's amazing that they keep putting this run together. It doesn't seem like there's anyone out there offensively that should be able to hurt you. Where do you start to make a difference? The defense is over the top great, but the offense, we should be able to stop that team, but people don't. They don't.
When Herbert's on, it doesn't even matter who he's throwing to sometimes. It's just like he's unbelievable out there. Next one comes from Angie Ibarra, $4.99. She says, we swept the Broncos and the Raiders. When was the last time that happened? And QJ, what a game. Man, I don't even know the last time that we swept the Raiders and the Broncos. Do you have that, Mario, by any chance? Do you know off the top of your head?
I'm looking up right now, but I would not say it's this is just giving me Chargers stuff. Give me a second. There's no way it's that far. You think?
Oh, it could be. Have you watched this franchise?
Fair.
Fair. Look, you go fair.
All right.
Yeah, it's obviously been a while, man. Angie, I know you're in cloud nine like the rest of us on this whole thing too. It's pretty incredible. All right, I'm gonna throw something at you. Just random thing. All right, and you tell me yes, you would do it. No, you wouldn't do it. It's not like it's going to be an actual offer. But to show you how important Herbert and the head coach quarterback combination is, let's say a team like the Tennessee Titans came to the Chargers in the offseason and said, look, we will trade you not only this year's first round pick, but we'll trade you our next 10 years of first round picks for Justin Herbert right now. Would you do it? The answer is no. Right?
I would. Yeah.
You would? Really?
10 first round picks? That's insane.
10 first round picks. Oh, to me, I think it's automatic. My point is how important have a franchise quarterback is.
Yeah, it's extremely important. But yeah, 10 first round picks. Come on.
Yeah, Jesus. That's
Mario, you would? You would trade,
probably.
You make that trade? Oh, I would.
By the way,
I'd hang up the phone.
I would trade you for 10 first round picks.
Well, I know you would, but that's different. A lot of people would.
I'd trade you for a 7th. By the way, Dave, you're almost right. Since 2006 was the last time they swept the Broncos and the Raiders.
That's sad. All right, next one comes from Stephen Land, $2. Says, sweet Jersey man, would you mind standing to share? Absolutely. I'm going to stand right now.
Quentin Jammer.
Yo, why is your balls out?
LT.
Let's go.
LT.
Let's go. Second favorite Charger ever behind Phillip Rivers. All right. Next one comes from Demetrius Jones, 1999. Says, while watching this game, I was thinking if Q continues to elevate, in Mario's words, I'd make out with a Garrett Wilson or T. Higgins signing right now. Lad times Q times T is fire. Yeah. I think Q could definitely be a really good number 3 behind them, right? That'd be one of the best receiving cores in the NFL if Q's going to play great.
Meet me under the mistletoe, Jones.
All right. Next one comes from Mike G, $10. Says, for the love of God, can we stop comparing Ladd to Edelman because he's white? He has all the same measurables as Antonio Brown and is doing better statistically than him as a rookie. He can be wide receiver 1.
Look, I don't know where you got this whole color thing. Antonio Brown's crazy. That's why we don't compare him to Antonio Brown. We like Ladd. We want to compare him to a crazy guy. That's the whole thing. Never once have we thought race, but okay.
When I think of Ladd, and the last thing I think of between Ladd and Edelman is their skin color. Like, I don't even, right? You guys would never think of that. Like, he's much more like Danny Amendola out there, or Wes Welker.
Welker.
By the way, Justin Herbert, who'd have thought? Sneaky fast, sneaky athletic.
Yeah. Lunch pail guy. All right. Ryan Culpepper, $10. He says, big win against the lowly Raiders. 2 observations. Teach Bosa where the line of scrimmage is and remind QJ what he's capable of if his mind doesn't get in the way. Both the F up. Couldn't agree more. The Joey Bosa thing, it's like if you had an old dog trying to teach him new tricks, it's just not going to happen. I mean, Joey Bosa, he's an old vet at this point. If he doesn't know where the line of scrimmage is, good luck. And then QJ, I agree. Like, confidence really seems like everything for him. Hopefully he can just really build on this going into next game and next season.
Unfortunately, Bosa. Look at Josh and I watching this yesterday in the Bengals game. Look at Hendrickson from the Bengals, man. He lines up pretty far outside too. But dude, he's a beast, man. And you look at Bosa, who in his mind he thinks he's Hendrickson, but dude, he can't get there, man. He hurts this team more than he helps it.
By the way, underrated, amazing game by him yesterday. What, 3 sacks, right?
Dude, 3.5. He's ridiculous. He's insane.
God.
Yeah, he's insane. Next one comes from Drew B. Drums. Says, victory blunt.
Go ahead, Mario.
Well, give it up for the new year, but hey, celebrate away.
Yeah, do whatever you got to do.
Next
one comes from Twisted Dame, $4.99. Says, as a San Diego native, I was pissed when they moved. I haven't stopped watching them once. We're coming up on 8 years in LA. People need to let it go.
I agree.
That's a hot take for some people, but obviously I'm a fan, so I let it go.
I mean, come on. Look, it's the NFL, as I said at the beginning of the show, man. This is where the party's at. You can sit there and complain and kick your feet all you want. You have 2 choices, man. If you aren't going to be a Charger fan, is what I always said when they're leaving. If you're really that mad and you blame Dean and whatever you want to say, I don't think people know the full story, but I'm not going to sit there and start defending Dean. There are things that I think I know that a lot of people don't as far as them leaving, but it's been a long time. All right. And if you really hated the Chargers, there are 2 teams you root for. You root for the Green Bay Packers because they're owned by the city and they aren't moving anywhere. If you're against teams that relocate, the Packers aren't going anywhere. And the other one would be what would hurt Dean the most would be if the Rams were successful. Pick one of those teams, but you aren't. You know why? Because it's in your blood. You can't get away from the logo. Dean, I thought, almost did something pretty smart. He didn't change things up. He didn't change the colors. He didn't change the name. He didn't just go, we're starting brand new. He kept the Charger name, and it's in your blood, man. Think about it. How many of you listen to the show right now when you're a kid growing up as a Charger fan, when the teacher's sitting there talking and you're thinking about who they're playing on Sunday, you start drawing that lightning bolt on your paper? Of course you did. You wrote it on your desk. You carved it in with your little pocket knife and put a little bolt in there, and you're stuck. You're a Charger fan. It's in your blood. You can't go anywhere. Go ahead, root for your MLS team in San Diego. Pretty exciting.
Next one comes from Tim, $10. Says, next year I want to see the new X receiver they bring in with QJ at number 2 and Ladd in the slot. Shoot, Mario, that's the number one thing I'm looking forward to in the offseason. Which big-time receiver are we going to get?
I'm just excited to see just additions that we get, like just whoever they bring in that wants to be part of the culture and who they draft that, we kind of swing and hit a home run on again.
This is a destination team. It is. Destination team, man. We talked about it before. The city they play in, the head coach, the quarterback. Again, everything's moving in the right direction. If you're a free agent and you want to not only get paid, but you want a chance to win, why wouldn't you pick the Chargers?
Next one comes from Roberto Castellan, 499, says, I meant happy for the future, by the way. Any chance they'll go to a playoff game? We need Slater for Houston. They have Anderson and Hunter. I'm sorry. I figured that's what you meant.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You had to pay $4.99 for us to get it right. So,
yeah, sorry about that. We'll send that back to you. Any chance he'll go to a playoff game? No, actually, I'm not going to go to Houston. It's my least favorite big city in the United States. Hate Houston, actually. And then Slater,
H for H-Town stands for hate.
Yeah, the H stands for hate. Mario said that Slater's getting an MRI. I think it was precautionary that he left the game. Obviously, I don't know the complete situation, but if he's feeling anything, you would take him out of that situation. And then you absolutely do need him in alt for Houston. They have two of the best edge rushers in the NFL with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter.
Agreed.
All right. Next one comes from Gold Teeth Poo Productions, $5. Says, now hear me out, guys. I am confident QJ and that talent's coming out more and more. He's going to do good next week. I got a feeling. I don't think you're crazy at all. I think after what we saw today, you should expect something out of him. Obviously, Josh Palmer is not a guy you really expect anything out of. So if it's not going to be QJ, who's it going to be besides Ladd? You need somebody else to step up.
Right. Wouldn't this be great if we could point to this game and say this was the turning point in QJ's career?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Remember that game against the Raiders and QJ never turned back? That's what we want.
We're also going to need him because that Houston secondary is not bad. I mean, they're 6th in opponent passing yards per game. And at home, they go from letting up and away 225 to at home 173. Big difference in how they play at home. So we're going to need him to show up.
All right. Next one comes from Ricardo Sotosen, $5. Says Herbert's last 3 games with this offense, 284 pass yards and 2 touchdowns and a win. 281 pass yards, 3 touchdowns and a win. 350 pass yards and 2 touchdowns and a win. I think Justin Herbert, I think, is playing as good as any quarterback in the NFL right now. He's obviously not in the conversation for the MVP. But if you were to look at just the throwing of the football, I think him and Joe Burrow just look different than everybody else in the league. It just looks too easy.
It didn't count, but that throw to Darius Davis for the touchdown was unbelievable.
It was.
That was an unreal throw. And the 2-point conversion, too, was him throwing, back over his body to Ladd McConkey was great. Also, tough son of a gun, him and Burrow. I mean, the hits they take and get back up from puts me in the hospital just watching it.
All right. Next one comes from John Solis, $5. Says, proud of QJ. Reminded me of the kid from Little Giants, the movie, when he pretended the football was toilet paper.
Yeah, dude, he's him. He is him. It's a good call, John. That is funny.
Right. Next one is from Matt Waters, $5. Says, I have a pinup girl tattoo wearing only Junior Sales jersey. Coincidence? I see it as a sign from the football gods of a win on my birthday. In a weird way, Matt, I hope you're right. Really hope you're right.
Dude, don't you have a matching tattoo like that?
I do.
Do I have a matching tattoo then? Or
he does. We both do. We both have matching tattoos of something that's Chargers. You know who it is?
I was just
Marty Schottenheimer, right cheek.
Right cheek, baby. Right where he belongs.
All right, you guys have anything else before we get out of here?
No, it was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. Charger win, man. I mean, that what can you say? They beat the Raiders, Raider week. We talked about guys that you're going to sit out. At the same time, the game was important because you wanted to face the Texans. You got everything you wanted, right? When you woke up this morning as a Charger fan, you got everything you wanted. I mean, so next week they take on the Texans in the first round of the playoffs. And look, it's the playoffs. So you're in there for a reason. So there's no cakewalks. And so this is where you want to be. This is where it all starts, right? You just want to get into the dance, right? As AJ Smith used to say all the time. You just got to get in, and then anything can happen there. So for the Chargers, fantastic. I think there are teams in the NFL that don't want to face them. And if they get by the Texans and whoever's next, whether it's the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, nobody wants to face this team right now because they're a wild card. I mean, literally, they're a wild card. But you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to face them because you don't know what you're going to get. It's hard to prepare for this team.
I got a question real quick for Dave's a jersey guy. What jersey should the Chargers wear in Houston?
Oh, well, they're only going to get a chance of white. They're only going to get the white one. Let's stay away from the yellow pants. Let's
Yeah,
go
no,
white on
that
white.
was my question. Like, no yellow pants, right? Go white
No
pants.
yellow pants. Yeah, the New Jersey
Yeah, no.
combination. Let's go, please. Let's go no yellow pants. Let's look a little tough. Come on.
Goodness sakes.
It would be
Right?
sick if they get a home game and get to wear the all navies.
I don't
Yo,
love the all
I can
navies.
get in on
Everybody
that.
loves
You
the
don't.
all navies but me.
They
I
don't,
think the
don't
only
they
person
not
that
play
doesn't like
well
them.
in those? They don't play well in those either. All right, look,
Yeah,
give an
yeah,
example
that's
about the
true.
yellow pants. Someone's going to write something about the yellow pants. Okay. I'll ask you two guys as men. You're in a bar fight, okay? Or you feel it starting to happen. Go, oh, shoot, I guess I'm in a bar fight.
Mhm.
If there's a guy who's one of the guys giving you a hard time, aren't you taking out the guy wearing the yellow pants? Like first shot? Like, you know what I mean? There's a guy wearing jeans and cowboy boots, or there's a guy over there wearing loafers and yellow pants. Who you fighting first?
Yellow pants
I
guy.
think 100%.
Yellow
Dude, I'm
pants.
going. I got the yellow
Yeah.
pants guy. Dude, let's get
Yeah.
away from the yellow pants.
Dodgeball.
When
If you had to throw knock somebody out. yellow
Yeah.
pants. It's
Yeah.
automatic.
Come on, just calling it what
What-
it is.
When I was in college, I had my parents, for some reason, got me like light blue, like khakis. And I didn't have anything to wear one day. And I walked out of like the house I lived at. And one of my roommates stopped me and goes, Heron, let's go back inside, buddy. I go, all right, sounds good. Took them off, threw them away right away.
Dude, you got the light blue khakis. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a tough go. By the way, Tyreek Hill just said this, and I quote, I'm opening the door. I'm out, bro. It was great playing here, but at the end of the day, I got to do what's best for my career, and I'm too much a competitor to just be out there.
How about you got every girl in Miami pregnant and you need time to move on? I mean, what are you talking about? Dude, now you got to get on the team plane after you're going to say that? Like, why do you wait for the plane to land? Like, if I was the Dolphins, I'd say, dude, figure out your own way home. You know, you had your mind. You just got embarrassed against Aaron Rodgers in his last game with the Jets. You know, what are you crazy? We'll see. Get on that Greyhound bus. Shake your ass all the way back to Miami and get your things. We don't want you either.
Yeah.
We'll work
and get
something out.
Buy some condoms on the way.
Yeah.
Next one comes
Cover that thing. Come on.
Yeah,
Take some
keep it-
control.
keep it in your pants. Next one comes from Jose. This is directly for Dave. It says Bosa's mom going to show up for the playoff game? Question mark.
Dude, hell no, she's not going to show up. Okay. Two, if she does show up, she better bring Nick with her. I'm so sick and tired of Joey showing up wearing 49er gear and supporting his brother in these playoff games. Look, this is Joey's turn now. Nick didn't do anything. Nick's completely actually jinxed his team, as we all saw. Got embarrassed today against Arizona. Nick, you better show up. Let's see what kind of brother you are. You know, and let's go, Cheryl. You know where Houston is. Let's go. Do the right thing. You have another kid. Let's focus. Come on.
I agree. What kind of brother is he if he doesn't show up?
Right?
Jealous.
You
Is this
better
the
be
first
wearing
time Joey's been in the
Chargers stuff.
playoffs and he hasn't?
Yeah, I think so.
Sad.
I don't know. 2 years
Yeah.
ago, they both might have been in, I guess, a couple years ago when we don't want to talk about that game, but you know what I mean.
In 2020 and in 2020 when Niners missed, Chargers missed also.
Yeah, but come on, you know which game I'm talking about that we asked the bet.
Yeah, we've been there.
Okay.
I wonder who said go ahead and get the Super Bowl tickets. I can't remember.
Yeah, I didn't say get the Super Bowl. I said we're going to the Super Bowl. That's what I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
was-
did. I jinxed that one. I jinxed your fantasy football team last week.
Yep.
I won't say
Yeah, you
anything.
did.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
You like the guy. This kicker's 24 for 24
Dude,
within
right?
the 40. Oh,
Dude, oh my God. Yeah, you weren't.
Kevin Harlan's never been more surprised.
There you go. All right, we'll get out of here. We're going to be back on Tuesday, 1:00 Pacific time, talking Charger football, getting ready for the playoff game. Thanks again to everyone with their comments as well, and everyone that's been with us through this ride. It's been a lot of fun. It's not over, though. Again, please like and subscribe to the show. We'll be back Tuesday. Don't forget, 1:00 Pacific time for a live show. Chargers win today, 34-20. They sweep the Raiders. What a season. What a season. We aren't done. For Mario Heron, Josh Pele, I'm Dave Pele. We will see you Tuesday at 1:00. Thanks, everybody.